Okay, we're going to tie a fly here that I came up with. It's got to be at least 10 years ago. It's called the Trio Blue Spey. We're going to do it a little bit differently than we used to, though. We're going to start with a small diameter brass tube. This is 1.5 inch. We're going to line it with our liner tube, of course. Okay, and whenever we line a tube, we just melt off the end to make that all-important ridge. Okay, and we'll just slide this up. Now, Trio Blue Spey is, Spey is a very loosely worded, or a very loose word in fly tying now, coming a long way since the original Spey flies hundreds of years ago. Not a traditional Spey. This is just a name we came up with. It definitely has the long flowing barbs that traditional Spey flies had. This tube's going to be tied in the round, which means there's no real top or bottom to it. It's a circular fly, I guess you could call it. Okay, we just put it on our mandrel. We'll slide it into our vice adapter. You'll notice, you know what, I left way too much here. Should probably trim that off a little bit. Okay, so again, the back of the fly, no more than 1/2 inch. Now we'll put it on. Okay, we'll secure it. You'll notice again the brass slides, plastic doesn't. So we'll just secure that together. So we'll make a big lip right where the plastic and metal meet. And we'll kind of just wiggle the metal so that some of those threads get underneath. And then just go back over top. You can see now the metal tube is secure. Just reposition here. Alright, so we'll take our thread to the back, almost to the very back. We'll leave about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, so that we can attach our junction tubing. Alright, we're ready to start. Alright, we're going to start by making, basically this fly is split into 3 sections, and each section is bordered by a feather that kind of props up the lighter heron feathers. So what we'll do is we've got large royal blue hackle here. I'm going to take a nice big one. You can see this is it's a good 4-inch feather. We'll cut the base where it starts getting fuzzy. We'll tie that in. Okay, and we're going to wrap forward, making sure that, whoops, you can see these are kind of brittle sometimes. Just reattach. Oh, they're really brittle, this one. Get a new feather. Right, there we go. Same thing, just trim it down. Now the reason we use just a regular hackle, rooster hackle, instead of schloppen or something like that, is because we want this wing to actually prop up a little bit. We don't want anything that just kind of lays down flat against the fly like marabou or schloppen to some extent. We're just going to make a little, well, just like you would a dry fly, actually. You're just putting on some hackle in a little area here. And we're going to pull it back just a touch, not a lot. Again, we want this to kind of prop up in the water. We don't want it laying down flat. We want a pretty big profile with this fly, so you can see it's just a ridge of hackle like that. Okay, next we're going to start on the first segment, which is I'm going to start with fine silver wire, just as a rib. And you guys all know out there it's important to rib your floss, otherwise fish teeth can just rip it apart. Okay, and we're going to go with bright pink floss. And I was silly and I ordered single strand floss, so I've got to bundle it up here into 4-strand. Okay, we're going to tie it in, and we're going to go up 1/3 of the fly. Okay, so we're going to wrap. Again, not compressing all that the blue hackle there, just kind of edging up against it. Now we've done this fly in several different colors, but definitely the blue is the best, the blue and hot pink. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to tie off, trim our ends here, and I'm going to go back on with our counter wrapped wire. Okay, now this fly is pretty much all about repetition, so now we're going to do another blue hackle. And this next blue hackle is going to prop up the heron that we put on. So again, another big blue hackle. Trim the butt, tie it in by the butt. And what we try and do is we try and get the second hackle bigger than the first one, so it's almost like a progression in size. Because of course the very front hackle is going to be laid down a little more. Okay, you'll notice I'm laying this down a bit, but not completely. Okay, so you get the two sections, and again, I'm not going to wrap it down and compress it like I normally would on an intruder or something like that. And you probably guessed the next step, more wire and more floss, just like we did before. Oh, actually no, I skipped a step, pardon me. This is the change that we had made to our original pattern. Original pattern would have just gone to another segment, but we're actually going to add heron to this, and you get a way different effect. So we've got our purple gray heron. Okay, we're going to take out the section. We're just going to trim the fluff off this and pull down from the tip. And you can see lots of beautiful feathers there. Okay, we'll tie in from the tip. And we'll do quite a few wraps here. We want to get a lot of those nice long fibers flowing back. And again, you want to just pick out the fibers to make sure they don't get rolled on top of. The whole idea of using the heron, besides it being a bit pricey, is you want to use as many barbs as you can. Okay, I'm going to tie off there. You still see I've got quite a few left. I would say that for a bigger fly. Hey, at this stage now I will pull the heron back just a little bit. And maybe now you can see why, whoops, broke my thread off. I'm sure that happens to you guys all the time. Okay, back in business here. I'll just reattach on. Whenever I break off the vise, I give it a little glue, just in case. Okay, so you can probably see now why I have the segmented blue hackles. That hackle now is going to help hold this heron up instead of just having it flow right backwards. It'll prop it up so that the fibers they're there, but they don't lay down completely. Okay, now we go back to the step of fine wire and the hot pink floss to make our last section. Okay, we're going to tie in. Okay, and make another section of hot pink. And you know, you try and get it as even as possible, but it's not the end of the world. Especially this front section is really going to be covered up with a lot of feather as well. Okay, we're taking this right to pretty much where the metal meets the plastic. Okay, then just like we did before, we're going to wrap forward, or pardon me, reverse with the wire. And tie off. And as you can probably guess, again, we're going to do the same repetitive steps. So now we're going to go with the blue hackle again, and it's going to prop up our last heron wing. Okay, try and find the biggest one I can. Okay, you're just wrapping forward again. Pulling back a little bit, but not drastically. Okay, so you can see we've got two definite pink sections. As you can imagine, you're just repeating steps now. So now you're going to get another purple heron. Okay, so I'll pull the fuzzies again. Strip from the tip. Okay, strip from the tip again. Okay, tied in by the tip. And we're going to wrap just like we did before. So again, you want to kind of take your time with this heron. You don't want to roll over any of the barbs. The more barbs out the back, the better. So if you see them matting up, just kind of stop and pick them out. Okay, and I usually use the whole feather, but in this fly I don't, so I'll tie it off. And then just like before, see there's the feather I have before. You still have two nice sections you can use on other flies. Kind of use the heron a bit better. Okay, I'm going to pull back. Now, not a lot of tube tiers like this fly because you know it works, number one, but number two, once you get the steps down, it's a pretty easy fly to tie, and it looks pretty good too. Okay, gonna get some guinea on here now. This is our extra large guinea. Really nice stuff. Big feathers. You can see you get a big pad and lots of massive feathers. Okay, I'm gonna pick out one of the bigger ones. Nicely spotted ones. And I like that one. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the fuzzies. Tie in the tip. Or sorry, grab the tip and pull back. And I go start with one, and I wrap it and see how it looks. Sometimes I add two to make a little more bushiness at the front. Okay, so you're wrapping. A lot of guys will pull back and wrap the guinea. I just wrap it and then pull back after I'm done all the wraps. Okay, so I'll tie off. Okay, pull back. We'll see what it looks like. See if I want to add another guinea feather. And you know what? I think I'm gonna add one more. You know, it looks pretty good, but a little more guinea, always a nice touch. Find another nice feather. There we go. Another large one. I don't think I'm going to wrap the whole thing. I'm going to wrap most of it around. Of course, if you get too big of a collar, it kind of looks a little out of proportion. Okay, we'll pull this all back. You have to forgive me, I've got a cold again. Okay, and we didn't do this in the original, but I'm going to add jungle cock as well. I'm going to add just little ones. Just kind of, I don't know, make it look more appealing to tires, I guess. And maybe fish. Okay, now in the past we have added cones to these. Definitely don't have to. In fact, this one I like the way it is. Alright, and that's the blue guinea spey. What we would also do is we'd probably use a bright blue flex tube junction tubing, and we'd probably stick with that anyway. Okay, so we'll just whip finish this and burn the tip. Again, you're spending all this time, whip finish twice. And you can see that's the finished fly. You know, pretty simple tie. One of our most popular patterns. Just an adaptation on the one we tied, like I said, at least a decade ago. Just burn the tip. Okay, and we'll do at least 2 or 3 coats of varnish on the front. And that's the blue, or it's probably the trio blue spey.